Well, hello, that's me again. Today is November 7th, 2024. It is Thursday. And what you see in the beginning is basically the result of the so-called this brilliant plan, if you wish, of those from Biden administration and those people who are below, those who issue the orders to start, invasion or incursion rather into Kursk Oblast. And you see yourself what was happening simultaneously, because they are ignorant people, and as I already stated, the top brass of Pentagon doesn't understand what real war is. They have been actually subjected to what you see above on the second half of the screen. And yeah, we are here today with essentially, well, the end of the affair. I'm talking about special military operation in purely military terms, and I will explain why. But let's start obviously with something which nobody can ignore, and this is the fact that the silent majority has spoken. And here it is. This is your silent majority. And except for the mentally challenged states, including my state of Washington, as you can see yourself, if it's not quite a landslide, but Trump won convincingly. He won both significantly popular vote, and we know that he gained more than enough electoral votes to basically become the next president of the United States, and he is president-elect, and I sincerely actually congratulate him. And and there is another positive upside to all that, of course, is the fact that we finally will have the really gorgeous first lady. So the New York Times comes up with this, oh my God, Trump's America, victory changes nation's sense of itself. I have to challenge this assertion, because from what I observed traveling, well, at least recently, mostly all over state of Washington, which, by the way, surprisingly, 40% of the brainwashed Washington state did still vote for Mr. Trump, which is significant improvement, actually. Well, we have Seattle, which is basically the city of cocks and morons, but, well, generally speaking, it's definitely very indicative, so to speak. And here is the assertion which needs to be challenged. No, nation never changed actually sense of itself. It's just that silent majority of the Americans have been suffering under the dictatorship of the insane people of Democratic National Committee, all those ideologues, badly educated, badly cultured, who were driving this insane agenda into the minds and, basically of people all over the United States. And those people didn't want to do that. That is why, for example, we see today the complete, how to put it, they are dying out, the mainstream media. We see that Hollywood is just failing. We see those people who are, they are not normal people, really, in any sense of their, normality as it was defined by the human civilization for many, many years. And this America has spoken, because they do not want that. They want to, another matter, of course, we have to keep in mind, and this is what I will be talking about, Trump administration. But the point is, there is no denial of that. And fact is, even Russians applauded, not because of Trump. I mean, there are all kinds of the shysters, media shysters, who immediately ran to streets of Moscow, St. Petersburg, or Chelyabinsk, and what have you, and immediately, these are basically people who are working for the Western media, who say, what do you think about, what if Trump win? And some old lady from the street says, oh yeah, it's a win for Russia. Russians do not view it at all like this. They actually do not care, but they have been really pleasantly surprised that actually common sense, American common sense, indeed has chosen the alternative to the insanity and actually destruction of the country, which was perpetuated by the Democratic Party, which is some people like James Howard Kunstler call it the party of chaos, which I entirely agree. These are warmongers, crazy ideologues, people who committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. For example, I will not talk about the issues of gender for now, but this is absolute insanity. And so when you look at this on overall, and yeah, you see that Melania Trump will again be representing America. Hey, not too bad for starters. But I will be talking about the practical implications or ramifications, if you wish, of Trump's victory. But even if he fails, just for the 48 hours, for this alone, seeing how all those insane people who populate the coastal cities of the United States and all those blue states were going bananas, were going mad, it was worth it because I enjoyed it thoroughly. And of course, there is nothing better than actually draw the historical parallels. Let us remember what French press was writing after Mr. Napoleon, just escaped Elba and started his march on Paris. Let's remember, this is wonderfully written, and this is a historical fact, and this is exactly what was happening to all those insane mainstream media in the United States who are stuffed with people without honor, integrity, or any other redeeming qualities which would say that, oh, you have chances in your life. No, they are trash. I mean, literally and figuratively speaking. But let's go back to 1815 or just 1814, but let's go. So here we are. So 9th March, the Anthropophagus has quitted his den. 10th, the Corsican ogre has landed at Cape Juan. 11th, the tiger has arrived at Gap. 12th, the monster slept at Grenoble. 13th, the tyrant has passed through Lyons. 14th, the usurper is directing his steps towards Dijon, but the brave and royal Burgundians have risen in mass and surrounded him on all sides. 18th, Bonaparte is only 60 leagues from the capital. He has been fortunate enough to escape the hands of his pursuers. 19th, Bonaparte is advancing with rapid steps, but he will never enter Paris. 20th, Napoleon will tomorrow be under our ramparts. 21st, the emperor is in Fontainebleau. 22nd, His Imperial and Royal Majesty yesterday evening arrived at the Tuileries amidst the joyful acclamation of his devoted and faithful subjects. This is the pattern which repeats itself over and over. And of course, apart from the completely insane Robert De Niro, who is expecting, and people like this, what can I say? Democrat TV host threatens Musk over Russia ties. Rachel Maddow has invoked a debunked media story to go after SpaceX owner. The Wall Street Journal, another, by the way, the prostitutes, a bunch of prostitutes, they are literally whores there, and apart from being obviously illiterate, the Wall Street Journal claimed last week that Musk has communicated with Russian President Vladimir Putin and withheld the services of his Starlink network to Ukraine military. Both Musk and Moscow have dismissed the report as fake news. You really can't have, as Rachel Maddow, who is, by the way, she has issues, okay? She has psychological issues. And that's the kind of level of things, and seeing their meltdown, and while the others repeat the pattern of the Napoleon, or rather French press, which was anticipating Napoleon or expecting Napoleon in Paris, it's all the same, never changes. When you're born a whore, you will stay a whore. Very difficult to be, to kick this habit, so to speak. And this is what we're observing, and I am not lying. I am thoroughly enjoying this, despite the fact that, like many people, I really do not trust Trump. I am on the record. We went out and voted for him, that's for sure. Fact is, we just did wholesale vote on the Republican causes, and not because we like Republicans. This is essentially uniparty, but because, at least psychologically, some people can have, say most of the normal Americans, they can exhale a little bit, After that, we have to start and face the reality. Mr. Trump and his administration are coming into the country, which is essentially bankrupt. Let's face it, the United States is bankrupt. And while effects are very pleasant, for example, I can see how the Scholz government collapsed, which is it's fine. Nobody cares anymore about Germany. And as I already stated, this is not to taunt Germans. There are very many decent Germans, people who are, for example, welcomed in Russia. But yeah, Germany's fate will be that of the second world, second tempo thing, which nobody cares about anymore. So, but even Scholz's government collapsed because obviously Trump is known as the Eurosceptic, and he is not very, how to put it politely, learnable man. He learns some things, but obviously, as I will demonstrate to you, we already see basically recycling of the same types, but Trump comes into America, which was only most Americans don't know. Well, many do actually, because of the U.S. media, which are basically propaganda outlets. They don't understand how America was humiliated and why, for example, Russians say, we don't care who comes to power. One way or another, we are at war. And that is why, for example, Mr. Putin didn't congratulate Mr. Trump. Because as Mr. Peskov, the spokesperson of Kremlin, stated, that this is an unfriendly country, it's de facto in war with Russia, and enjoys killing Russians. Why, indeed, Mr. Putin should be, congratulating Mr. Trump. When Mr. Trump actually, and here comes this thing, reminder, so to speak, that it was on Mr. Trump's watch when Ukraine was armed to the hilt. It was under his watch, despite his claim that oh my God, I never started a war. Well, maybe. But the point is, he did all in his power. He allowed neocons to run his administration. And guess what? Evidently, he will do so in the future. So what we have now, I didn't go to the Politico. I went to, it's RT, it doesn't matter. Trump has three choices for Secretary of State, political states. The president-elect will reportedly pick from a list of hawks and loyalists. Loyalists are fine, and evidently the only redeeming thing here is Richard Grenell. Richard Grenell was known as the Eurosceptic, and he is definitely not stupid man. Although he also, helped to, perpetuate this whole Ukraine disaster, which Mr. Trump faces now. And guess what? But who are next people on the list? Nothing good. And the nothing good is that we have Mr. Senator Marco Rubio, who is neocon, the boy, the chores boy for Adelson family. Well, same as Mr. Trump, who, as yesterday, you have to go and take a look at the conversation, wonderful conversation between Colonel McGregor and Judge Napolitano. And Judge Napolitano correctly stated that, my gosh, Adelson clan paid $100 million for Trump campaign. And the only thing they care in this particular case are not Americans. Nobody cares about Americans among neocons. These are primarily about extension of the territory or expansion of Israel, State of Israel. But, you see, Mr. Marco Rubio, who is the chores boy from those people, he is considered to be for what? Secretary of the State. The guy has absolutely zero qualifications for this, but nonetheless, and you know what, so we have the Senator Bill Hagerty, and so it's not promising, honestly, and not encouraging from Mr. Trump, albeit, as I already stated, Grenell is his loyalist, and in this particular case, I have to go with Mr. McGregor's definition that, albeit not completely, that policy are the people, are personalities. Well, to a degree, of course, that's true. But again, if Richard Grenell goes there, then, well, you know what can I say? Now, obviously, going back to what Mr. Trump loves to boast about that he can stop the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Obviously, he cannot. But Zakharova, reacting to Mr. Trump's claims and statements, she says that Trump says 2017, 2021, we had no wars except we defeated ISIS. As always, typical Trump, stolen valor. Obviously, ISIS was defeated by Russians and Syrians, and America, actually, together with Israel, are the ones who supported ISIS. But yeah, So he said that I'm not going to start a war. Good. Good, that's good already, okay? However, the issue is, as always, the court plays the king. So, and we have to repeat again the statement by Mr. McGregor that personalities are policy, not 100%. Obviously, in the end, the buck has to stop with this guy, but how alert he is now, I don't know. And so, I'm not going to start a war, I'm going to stop wars, the Republican insisted. And he told that when asked to comment on Trump's promise, Zakharova told Russia 24 TV channel that, of course, those theses must be followed by actions, concrete actions, not this fluffy BS, which obviously every single election cycle in the United States is marked by, because people go out, they lie and blow, basically smoke up the asses of the voters. However, she also suggested that Trump's promise to end foreign wars was an acknowledgement that the US needs to focus on its own problems. She is absolutely correct here because, and Trump is known as the guy, that's why, for example, Scholz's government collapsed to a certain degree, one of the reasons, that he wants Europeans to pay for own security. Macron, this bank teller boy went out and said, yeah, we have to make, our own decisions in terms of the security of Europe. Sure, go right ahead. The problem is that people have to keep in mind, we have two major conflicts developing while Russians are wrapping up the, essentially annihilation of any kind of the competent, I don't think so, there are many competent left, remnants of the armed forces of Ukraine. And of course, we have the tragedy which is unfolding in Palestine and Israel being, it is destabilized to a degree. But, and if to be frank, yeah, they're losing this war because they got their basically ass handed by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. So we have this major conflicts. What is she going to do? Mr. Trump and his future administration. The only positive for him that he can state that, I am, following my promise of 24 hours. It's not going to take 24 hours. It's not even going to take 24 days. But he may try to stop any kind of the financing of the Kiev regime and see what happens. And in this particular case, yes, indeed, in 24 hours, once those money are cut off, you will see many private jets taking off from Borispol airport in Kiev and flying who knows where, to be later followed by proper people from Russia to kind of settle scores in the court of justice, of course, for their war crimes and crimes against humanity, which they committed in their former territories, now Russian territories. So, if Trump wants to do that, sure, why doesn't he do this? We'll see. But point is that there are no more money anyway, and that there was a issue that they wanted to somehow send another $6 billion. It's a pocket change. It doesn't buy much, especially since United States already lowest of the low on their stocks, so that they cannot give much, which will change anything at all. So this is the things which Mr. Trump faces, and. For example, we have even India. India is always multi-vector. Well, they are Indians, okay? They have their own, interest, and nothing wrong with that. And so there is a very strange definition, of course, in terms of the of United States helping, but So U.S. dominance may not continue. Indian Foreign Minister Mr. Jaishankar argued that Washington has become more cautious about its global commitments, irrespective of who is in power. Well, yeah, we know that Washington is stretched and is bankrupt, and real state of the U.S. armed forces is really not good. It is not the force which can fight real war. And again, I've been through it on that so many times that again, you cannot fight modern war against serious enemy with the TOE, table of equipment organization, and equipment which is from 1990. You just can't. You can create some more of the same newer missile which is polished in a different way, but nothing has changed in terms of the combat impact of the US Armed Forces, which always was the expeditionary one. So in this particular case, Mr. Jaishankar, he is kind of correct. And he's talking about those global commitments. Speaking at the event in Australia on Wednesday, while the vote count was still ongoing, Mr. Jaishankar suggested that we should prepare for a world where the kind of dominance and generosity, I don't know, United States sometimes helps, but it's always the strings attached, that the US had in early days may not continue to be the norm. And he is correct probably about generosity in terms of the obviously Europe after World War II. But other than that, yeah, but he is absolutely correct. And India being a critical member of BRICS, he is absolutely correct stating that this is the end for the United States because it simply cannot project itself anymore. And well, yeah, it can send some aircraft carriers, it can send some submarines and threaten to launch tomahawks. Well, guess what? Something will fly back on the US proper, and nobody wants to do that, except for the fanatics and neocons, which evidently Trump already beginning to kind of consider. But we'll see. I am personally into the, let's wait and see mode, or giving the benefit of a doubt mode. We'll see what happens between now and January 20th. And so, what can I say? So now, let's take a look on our events on the battlefields, which is this is the conflict which occupies Europe now, which will be evidently left alone to deal with the financing of that. They are becoming paupers. They are poor. Let me put it very straight to you. Europe is poor, realistically. It has some technologies left, but talking specifically about the situation there, their social and cultural milieu, so to speak, in Europe is such that it prevents the basically dynamic economic development. And we already saw ourselves that actually China completely dominates, for example, this stupid market of electric vehicles. It's primarily, I call it virtue signaling vehicles. And but that's what Europe does. It commits suicide, and it will continue to commit suicide because Europeans will go out and vote for the same people, unlike it is with Americans. Americans at least have their alternative. Plus, as I already stated, Europe doesn't have Bill of Rights. It's all crap. It's all propaganda. The United States does have Bill of Rights. And yes, while it's difficult sometimes to uphold, but Constitution is on your side. In Europe, it doesn't matter. I mean, you saw yourself with Macron. Oh yeah, who cares about Constitution? I'm staying in power. Period. That's who they are. And guess what? They will go and vote for the same people again. Because they are brainwashed, most of them anyway. Because unlike Americans, which people say, oh, you love Americans. No, I don't love Americans. I have many friends whom I love, but I like American actually attitudes toward the political situation, unlike these Europeans. Because Europeans, you know what, they love to go in the goose steps, period. And many people say, we're not like this. Yeah, some part of Europe is not like that, but it will go and vote pretty much for the same people. Because they're brainwashed, and European media are essentially, well, it's the true, mini-true from 1984. But here is the situation on the front. Let's take a look what we have. As you can see yourself, the slaughter continues. It from yesterday. And as I already stated, Mr. Jeffrey Sachs comes out yesterday and Judge Knapp, no, some other program, and he talks about that the whole Ukraine massacre was the Biden project, which it was. The Biden administration created this, committed war crime. But the point is that he is wrong. He says, oh, they killed 500,000 of Ukrainians doing this. No, 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 no. They killed way more than that. And as I already stated, once the real numbers of the KIAs killed in action of the armed forces of Ukraine will be revealed, the world will be stunned. And so, but you can see yourself what is happening right now. They're essentially, now we have those, oh God, I don't want to go there because I'm so sick and tired of this, Kiev regime. But now they say that Syrsky may give the order to withdraw from Kursk Oblast. Well, you mean not withdraw, run away? Because what is happening right now, they're just mopping up. They're mopping up. They literally, just digging them out and, well, take prisoners of war, kill those who resist. And if you take a look at, for example, a front today, you can see yourself. This is also just single, yesterday, single piece of the front, if you wish. Not, not Pokrovsk, which is Krasnoarmeysk, not Kupiansk, which is, the catastrophe happens there. But look at this. This is Belogorovka. And what you see here, another cauldron forming about, I would say, 6 by 4 miles, 24 square kilometers. A cauldron which will be, as there was an attempt to counterattack in Serebrovka. As you can see yourself, the green arrow, unsuccessful, was repelled, and yeah, they lost many people. So you can see yourself, there's another cauldron. And those cauldrons are popping up there. And those people who are in those cauldrons, I'm talking about, of course, personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine, they're not doing that well, to put it mildly. And we have the situation. And this situation is, of course, is defeating not Ukraine. Ukraine has been defeated long ago. It's about defeating NATO. And so we have to wait and see what kind of the impetuses are in play here for Trump administration. The only thing Trump has, it's not his war, at least. Well, he didn't start this war, that's for sure. Albeit he did a lot to precipitate this war by arming Ukraine and creating at that time, and by the 2021, probably the best NATO army. That's what it was. Well, it's completely destroyed now, and again, as we see, it's primarily tactical thing we're discussing, but reality, as the opening video of today's video shows you, you saw yourself what happened. So this is how they shouldn't plan military operations. Well, again, there are so many people who still think that they can outthink and outplan Russian general staff. They never studied history and they do not understand what they're talking about. And that basically applies to bunch of the so-called military professionals in the United States and in England, which altogether is, well, that's a whole other story. I have some news which I need to discuss with you, probably on Saturday, about the situation with the fleets. There's a very interesting article which came out in relation to the development of the fleets. But as you can see yourself, we have a lot of discussion today of Mr. Trump, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking more about it. But at least, in conclusion, we can congratulate ourselves who voted for Trump. We know the guy is narcissist and he doesn't learn that well, but at least America has spoken, and this kind of reinforced the belief that, unlike Europeans, and I understand many people, very many good people from Europe, from Poland to Germany to Spain to United Kingdom, they will say, oh, it's not like this, you don't write us off. But the truth is, Americans have spoken, and this is the difference. Americans have the alternative. It's not a good alternative, but at least they know what they do not want. Europe, unlike Americans, they want this woke nightmare. They voted for it and they enjoyed it. So, and the fact that some minority, maybe even substantial minority, says that, oh, we don't want that, I agree. There are still many good people, as I already stated, but majority, no. And Europe is the fundamental center of the Russophobia, and some of it is fanatical, like it is with the Scholz government. And these people got to power through, obviously, democratic process, no matter what you say. And this is what I wanted to tell you today, guys. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon or buy me a coffee too. I would really appreciate that. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.